Stay with me as we expand our knowledge with videos from all over the internet that's going to make you rethink everything. Let's just start.
They were not a waste of time. They were a portal to the next version of yourself. On a soul level, not a human one, on a soul one, you knew this person was going to come into your life and trigger you to bring up shadow energies, to give you momentum and push you into the next season of your life. Without them, these energies wouldn't be triggered and brought up to the surface to be shown to the light.
Like
The most
that.
eye-opening thing I ever learned about men was from my college human sexuality class, where the professor told us that men don't actually like women. Not all men, sure, but hang in. He said that the way that our society socializes boys to, quote, become men is not to tell them how to be men, it's just to teach them how to not be women. Don't cry, be a man. Don't be a pussy, be a man. Don't be weak, be a man. Don't be sensitive, be a man. Don't like those things, those are girl things. And the tool we use to do that kind of socializing, to steer them away from feminine things, is shame. And you just can't go your whole life being told that the worst thing you could do is be like a woman and expect to actually like women at the end of that. But they are also taught that their sexual attractiveness to women and their ability to get women is a status symbol in front of other men. So they will sexually pursue women, but they don't actually like them as people. This is how patriarchal masculinity socializes men, and why shame, violence, and disgust are so intricately linked.
If you're single and you're wondering why all these other girls are getting spoiled, are getting princess treatment, men are literally obsessed with them, wanting to commit to them right away, and you're out here getting ghosted, guys are literally giving you bare minimum, they are just taking you on coffee dates, and you're just like wondering, why can't I be the kind of girl who gets spoiled? I'm gonna give you the secret. Listen, I used to literally be the girl who got cheated on. I was paying for my own dates. I was literally in a 50-50 relationship. I was settling for bare minimum. It's literally because I was in my masculine energy, and you could be too. This is repelling all the good guys. This is when you literally think that you have to actually do things for a guy to make him like you. Whether that be change yourself so that he likes you more. Whether that be planning dates with him, texting him, calling him, hooking up with him. When you want to get the kind of princess treatment you deserve, you feel scared to ask him to pay. You feel scared to do these things. You feel like you're asking for too much, or you feel like you don't want to rock the boat and you don't want to make him like run away. The secret is that men want to spoil you right now. Like, men want women, and we actually have the power to literally sit back in our feminine energy and receive gifts, receive love, receive time, energy, money, and literally make men obsessed with us, wanting to marry us. But we stop the natural flow, and we stop them from doing that when we are in our masculine energy, and when we're literally thinking to ourselves, oh, how can I get him to like me? Oh, I don't deserve that. Like, I don't want him to go away if I ask for too much. I'm gonna show you how to become the prize, how to make him literally chase you and become obsessed with you, and how to create that dynamic in a relationship with a man where he is literally chasing you because you are the prize. He is spoiling you. He's literally giving you time, money, energy to earn you. And all you have to do in return is literally just give him your attention, give him your time, and give him your appreciation. And I'm gonna do that inside of the princess treatment formula. The girls who are using this formula are literally seeing men that ghosted them, that they were in situationships with, literally come back running, asking them to marry them, spoiling them, taking them on trips, giving them literally home-cooked meals, like literally treating them like queen, because now they're chasing you. If you wanna learn more, comment formula down below. Love you.
Have you ever snapped at someone after being pushed to your breaking point only for them to turn it around on you?
Yes.
That's called reactive abuse.
Okay.
Reactive abuse happens when somebody who's been repeatedly manipulated, provoked, mistreated finally reacts, often in a way that seems out of character, but then the abuser uses your reaction to make you look like you're the problem. They may say things like, see, you're the crazy one, or you're the abusive one here, and it's a tactic for them to shift blame and avoid accountability for their behavior. But let's be clear, your reaction doesn't make you the abuser. It's a very human response to being emotionally overwhelmed or pushed past your limits. It's also one of the most misunderstood dynamics in toxic relationships, and it leaves a lot of victims feeling guilty or ashamed for how they responded. But Remember that reacting to abuse doesn't make you abusive. It's a sign of how deeply their behavior has affected you. What matters is recognizing that pattern from the abuser, breaking free, and prioritizing your healing, because you deserve a life where you don't have to defend your actions or your reality.
You know that old saying, blood is thicker than water, used to manipulate people into not cutting ties with shitty family members? Did you know that's not the full quote?
Okay, tell us.
The full quote is, blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. In other words, the relationships you choose are stronger than the ones you inherit.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
cut those ties, baby. Protect your peace. Build community with people with whom you have shared values, mutual support, reciprocal relationships, and better vibes. It's all good.
If you think that having difficult conversations is hard and uncomfortable, just wait until you have to deal with the hard and uncomfortable reality that comes from not having those conversations. Is it not hard and uncomfortable to live in avoidance and resentment, to be in relationships where you feel like they're one-sided, where you don't feel like your love or your giving or your service is reciprocated? Isn't it hard to not speak up for yourself? Isn't it hard to keep sweeping everything under the rug and pretending like it's okay when you know it's not, and your partner can feel that too? I know it's uncomfortable to bring up uncomfortable topics, but I promise you, it is better than living a life where you are having to wear a mask and pretend like everything's okay when it's
I like
not.
the sound of that.
That shit will suck the life out of your soul.
True that.
What you are seeing here is something called an exercise-induced orgasm, or an EIO. Old MacDonald is blushing right now. This is an orgasm that is caused by the contraction of the pelvic floor muscles. That is also why it is called a corgasm by a lot of people. But let's talk about the anatomy behind this event. You are about to understand why there are so many different types of orgasm. This structure here is called the uterovaginal plexus. It innervates the cervix and then branches into the vaginal nerves, which run down the main canal, and then that further diverges into the cavernous nerves of the clitoris. These are the dorsal nerves of the clitoris. Note how all of these have a pretty intimate relationship with the muscles of the pelvic floor. Here you will see the anterior labial nerves. This is associated with a technique called the lower stomach press. It's actually more of like your pelvis or your mons pubis. That's the area you're looking for. A lot of people, this makes them feel like they need to pee. Others, it rocks their Casbah. But we're not done yet. We need to swoop to the undercarriage here, and you will find the posterior labial nerves. When you look at all of these side by side, you can see that they have a very intimate relationship with the muscles and tissues of the pelvic floor. So when you are doing exercises that flex or tense your legs, your pelvis, and all of the pelvic floor muscles, they can apply pressure to this entire system. For the dudes out there wondering why the ram and jam train isn't working for them, that's because thrusting is not the key here. It is pressure, fullness, the sensation of stretching that is the key to a lot of the O-Town. On an unfortunate note, not everyone can have these, and a lot of times they're exercise specific, so you may want to vary your routine at the gym. I'm also hoping you understand why there are so many different types of O. On that note, do you know what you call a British orgasm? A Cheerio. That was a terrible joke. As always, thanks for learning with me, and if you've got a question, you know what to do.
Guys, delete it. Do not look at me like that. I know you have it. Hinge.
Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait and try and match just one more person, because that person might be your person. Delete it today. Delete it right now. Because coming from somebody who was a former advocate of dating apps, because, you know, you can meet some very, very cool people, whether romantic or platonic, on dating apps, I started to realize that all the insane people are gathered on these dating apps. Let me walk you through some of the most common dating app scenarios. You match, you start talking. Their replies are a little shaky, but you know, hey, not everyone's on their phone all the time. You start getting into conversation, it's flowing, and then the person says to you, oh, I don't really have much time to commit to dating. Yet, you are on a dating app. Does that sound like the thought process of a sane person, let alone somebody that you want to date? Another one, let's revisit the topic of slow replies. Now, I don't expect everybody to be on their phone all the time. Fair enough. We've all got shit to do. It's a cost of living crisis. Our phones and interaction is probably the last thing that we want to do. But understand that you signed up to this dating.
My ex-wife is married for over a decade now to a phenomenal guy who is perfect for her. And he's nothing like me, by the way. Like if you met him and you met both of us, you'd go, well, no one could love both of these guys. Because like if you like this flavor, you wouldn't like this flavor. Like I am impatient, fast talking, like skip to the end, we gotta land this plane, come on. And he's therapist, he's chill, he's like patient, and they're perfect together. And I can say that as someone who loves her and loved her, you know, and knows her or knew her. Like, and I think if we can, you know, if we can radically view honestly, like without jealousy, without the sense of like, look at it and just go, yeah, okay. Like this is the love this person needed. Like that doesn't mean my love sucks. It just means it wasn't the right one for this person, you know?
Let your man cheat on you. Hear me out, okay? If you are doing everything in your power to make sure he doesn't cheat by being psycho or controlling, are you asking who he's with, to send photos of who he's with, his whereabouts, etc., clinging onto his plans, stuff like that to make sure he isn't unfaithful, it isn't worth it. Let this man truly show you who he is and what his true intentions are. When a man wants to cheat, he will cheat. When there is a will, there is a way. There is nothing you can do to stop them.
She's right. Trying to control someone won't prevent cheating. It will only exhaust you. You know, if someone wants to cheat, then they will. So instead, let their actions reveal their true character. Focus on what you can control, your communication, your boundaries, and how to stay true to your values. Trust is a choice, but it's also earned, and you have to give them the opportunity to earn it.
Somebody said that. Say the weird thing. The belief that being good to others and treating them well will lead others to being good toward you and treating you well is a toxic trait that you're carrying into adulthood from a coping mechanism that you acquired as a child. But the reality is people don't treat you how you treat them. People treat you how you teach them to treat you. Or better said, people treat you how you allow them to treat you. It's very likely that you grew up with a very unstable parent. Someone that you felt like you had to kind of walk on eggshells around. Maybe they were verbally or even physically abusive. And you learned that growing up, the only way that you could be happy and feel safe and get your needs met was if you were able to make them happy by being a good little boy or girl, constantly catering to them and doing whatever it is that they demanded. This caused you to believe that the only way that you could get treated good was if you treated other people good and met their needs first. You were taught that saying no or not complying with the demands or needs of this very unstable parent was a bad thing and made you a bad person. What you were actually learning was that you are not allowed to set boundaries or say no to other people, which of course will wreak havoc on all of your success in romantic relationships as an adult.
Has anyone else noticed that when an adult child chooses to not have a relationship with a parent, it's always, but she's your mom.
I'm going to trauma dump here a little bit, so buckle up. I didn't talk to my father the last 10 years of his life, and when he died, I didn't go to his funeral. And I had many family members reach out to me privately and talk about how disappointing it was, about how much I am the one that was harming the family by not showing up, by me not showing up to a service to listen to a bunch of people talking about how great this person was when we damn well all knew he wasn't. But I was the one that was harming the family. I was the bad person because my not being there was an indictment of everybody else for not doing shit when he was alive. Nobody seemed to have anything to say when he was destroying his life and making sure my childhood was filled with chaos and fear. If there's one thing a family hates more than an abuser, it's a truth teller. And when an adult child chooses to go no contact with that parent, that is a very loud truth.
This is how you're going to command the room in relationships. You are going to move slower and speak less with your words. Speak more energetically. A practical example of what this looks like. When you first see your man, let's say that you are going on a first date and he comes and he picks you up. When he gets out of the car, and he looks at you and you're standing outside of your apartment or your home, I want you to wait for him to speak first. Rather than, hi, it would be, wait for him to say hello. Every time I did this, every single time I did this, where I waited for him to speak first, the polarity that him and I had for the rest of the day, it was so strong. Polarity meaning he was constantly chasing me physically, energetically, mentally. And I just felt so leaned back. I felt so in my feminine energy juiciness. That is what I felt.
I forgot to tell y'all how I found out that my husband's brother was actually his boyfriend. Yes, let me get into it. So on the first day that my husband tried to talk to me, his brother was actually with him, right? It is so crazy how I even found out that they were actually together. Now, mind you, 7 whole years I was with this man. Me, him, and his brother, the kids would go on trips together. They would even go on solo trips by themselves. His brother was always around. Again, I didn't think anything of it because when I first met him, you know, they were together. I thought this was literally his brother for real. So my suspicions grew more intense when he started to get up to go to the restroom to talk to his brother. Why do you have to get up, you know, to go to the bathroom to talk to your brother, right?
This is disgusting.
So,
this is awful.
One day,
I can't even
he went to the bathroom, so I got up and I put my ear to the door. And he was like, I love you, babe. What? So now at this point, I'm like, wait a minute, you know, what's going on? Is a female in his phone as brother, or is he actually telling his brother, I love you, babe? Why are you telling your brother, I love you, babe?
She overthinking.
So I didn't mention anything about it, you know, because I wanted to do my proper research. Now, the second part of why I grew suspicion is because when he would come over, every time he would come over, we would have drinks and I would get extremely sleepy. Like, extremely sleepy to the point where I, you know, left them up to go to bed. So that was another red flag. Why am I always getting sleepy and they don't, you know, now mind you, wine and liquor, you know, certain wines do put you, you know, to sleep. But it was like, nah, am I being drugged? Oh, it gets deep, y'all.
Stop worrying about if she's going to treat her next man better than she treated you. All the people that she fooled into loving her.
If somebody were to ask me, what's the craziest piece of psychological science that you have ever learned? I would say, without question, it has to be the fact that the egg that ultimately made you was very likely in your biological mother's ovaries in the womb of your grandmother, which is in and of itself bananas just to think about. But the ramifications of that are actually what is really crazy, because we know that whatever was happening with your maternal grandmother while she was pregnant with your mom had effects on the expression of your DNA. So if your grandma is still alive, you need to call her and find out what was going on when she was pregnant with your mom. And if your great grandma is alive, you need to call her too, because the egg that made your mom was inside of her, and so on and so forth. It's like Russian nesting dolls. Bonkers.
Game becomes easy when you realize that women are built to chase men. Women naturally come from an insecure state of mind. They are naturally insecure if you don't know that already. And so they chase male validation, male protection, and just security from men. Once you understand that, this sounds fucked up to say, but you can kind of use it against them. You make them wait for that security, that validation that they want, that they crave, and instead just string them along and don't give it to them right away. That's why when a man chases a woman for validation or security, or he just acts like that in any way, women are going to leave them. So don't chase women, chase your purpose. They will chase you, and that's all you have to do. One thing I want to make clear is that as a man, approaching a woman or starting a conversation with a woman is not chasing. Chasing is a mindset. It's when you care about sex more than you care about your purpose. Women care about men. That's all they care about. That's all their lives revolve around. That's why they're designed to chase a man. But you have to care about your goals more than you care about sex or any type of woman.
The reason why you're so quiet, isolating yourself, not spending time with many people, drastically shutting yourself down, seeming to have lost desire for much of anything, is because you're regulating your nervous system. You're shifting into a state of mindful awareness and reevaluating the standards that you once set for yourself. And if you want to call it the functional freeze, well then okay. But it seems to me that since you've made it out of your fight, flight, and fawning responses, you might just have a chance to finally find out who you really are without all those trauma responses in the way. But hey, no rush. Because the person who thaws out of that freeze is renewed, is refreshed, is revived. Just don't expect yourself to return to everything that you used to do. You're not trying to get back to your old self, because it was your old self that got you into this mess to begin with.
Something my mom has always told me growing up is never accept food from people who don't like you. As a matter of fact, don't accept anything from somebody who doesn't like you. And I know my mom is a little superstitious, but I believe her. I believe that their negative intention attaches to that which is given to you. I mean, think about it. If a person already doesn't like you, the energy that they're emitting towards you is negative. It infuses the food, and then it can make you sick. I actually had an old coworker from my last job who was from Haiti, and she deeply believed in voodoo. And I remember that she refused to eat anybody's food, like anybody. Like, we would have work potlucks, and she was like, nope, I don't need that. No, I don't think the world is against me, but if I know somebody personally does not like me, best believe I'm not gonna eat that food, and my kids are not gonna eat that food. We're not gonna accept anything from that person. Just protect your energy, protect your kids. You just never know who's wishing bad on you. I was just thinking about that today. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Attraction and good conversation are not enough to sustain a relationship. Shared values matter. Like, for example, I make good money, but I live a low maintenance lifestyle. I'm a stoic. So why was I pursuing high maintenance women who, they like the idea of me for stability and aesthetic reasons, but offered little more than nice restaurant suggestions, just superficial transactional connection? My pursuits were motivated by the wrong thing. Then one day I'm at an overpriced brunch with a beautiful person talking about bullshit when I realized that I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting our time because I value depth. I don't want overpriced brunches with a beautiful stranger. I want a hole in the wall with a woman whose spirit brightens up the place while we talk about philosophy. At the end of the day, with everything stripped away, all that's left is who we truly are. And I don't know about anybody else, but the next person I commit myself to has got to be someone I can be stranded on a deserted island with, nothing but each other. We would still choose each other every single day with nothing. It's that or bust. I'm not about to keep wasting my time or anybody else's.
We just concluded the Giselle Pellico case, and now there's a freaking another one. So this family adopts a little girl, and around the age of 10, the dad starts posting pictures of her on Coco. She doesn't have any clothing on in the pictures, and he's offering her up for services to men who are also looking to buy. Oh, and it worked. He took her to gas stations and beaches, and for 5 years, he watched other men essay his daughter. I can't even say daughter, his trafficked victim. Now, of course, when she started her period, they put her on the pill so that she wouldn't get pregnant. And yes, I say they. The mother was a part of this. This happened between 2017 and 2022, and the father just stood trial, and he admitted that he enjoyed watching this happen. This girl is now 18 years old, and she wanted a public trial. Good for her. Just like Giselle Pellico, she wanted the world to see this nastiness, this darkness that occurs. And exactly what Giselle wanted. She wanted to empower people to make this public, to come forward, to not hide if you've been victimized or harmed. So the father gets 17 years in prison, and the mother got 12. Lots of men are involved, but there is one who harmed her 50 times, and he only got sentenced to 10 years. This is revolting, and what's even more revolting is the guy who created the website, Isaiah Steedle. I don't even know how you say it. I don't care. I'll spell it in the notes. He finally had the website shut down in 2024, but the website was started in 2003. So, okay, we have 2 of these cases now that have just gone to trial. Well, how many have occurred in the past 20 years? The Paris police think that 23,000 crimes occurred through this website. They are assuming there are 480 victims. Now, one victim had thousands going after her. 480 victims? You can be aware and vigilant without being paranoid and hypervigilant. But please, just stay aware. Ignorance is not bliss. There are predators all around us, and they are hiding in plain sight. If you see something, say something. If your intuition goes up, if your spidey sense, if the hair on the back of your neck goes up, say something. Protect yourself. Protect your loved ones.
I was asked by a podcaster if I could have everyone in the entire world hear one message from me at the same time, what would it be? My answer actually even surprised me. I channeled was to trust in God's presence over your own strength. I have lived this moment to moment the last 8 years on my spiritual journey of trying to do everything from my own will, of pushing boulders up mountains by myself, of achieving incredible things that most people dream about. But it was exhausting. It was lonely. It was riddled with ego. And I have learned to lean on God's presence, God's strength over my own, because He will take me places that I can't see, that I can't conceive, that I can't get to on my own. God has taught me in these last almost 2 years of surrendering that I'm not meant to do it alone, and that He has such bigger plans for me, and to obey His word, even when it doesn't make sense to me. Especially when it doesn't make sense to me. So if I could have the entire world hear one thing from me for the rest of my life, it would be to trust in God's presence and His strength over your own. He is meant to lead you step by step. You are not going to have the entire map laid out in front of you immediately in the beginning, but it is by faith that you take a step and then another step every single day, and He will lead you places more magnificent than you can fathom. All you have to do is take another step in faith. Let me know in the comments what step, even a baby step, you can take today in faith. I love you.
And we've come to the end of the videos. I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something new from this. And this was for entertainment purposes only, but then you can also learn something really important from this for your life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you again in my next video. Bye.